Welcome to Soulfully Blonde. Do you want to feed your soul and nourish your mind? Tune in for motivating messages and meaningful conversations with glow-getters, soulpreneurs, authors, mentors, and coaches as they share powerful wisdom, dynamic journeys, and inspiration that will ignite your soul to shine its brightest. Now, here is your host, Carol Star Taylor.
Have you ever struggled to finish a tub of protein powder? Get bored easily with your protein powder flavors? Or are inexperienced with supplements and aren't sure what works for you? Scoop Supplements is your answer. Scoop Supplements is the first and only company to offer protein powder and supplements by the scoop, customized just for you. Choose from a variety of flavors. Select your supplements in any quantity you desire and have it shipped to you. Delivering across North America, Scoops lowers the commitment and increases the variety of your supplements. To learn more about Scoops, you can visit them at scoopsupplements.com or on their Instagram page at Scoop Supplements. Have you ever struggled to finish a tub of protein powder? Get bored easily with your protein powder flavors? Or are inexperienced with supplements and aren't sure what works for you? Scoop Supplements is your answer. Scoop Supplements is the first and only company to offer protein powder and supplements by the scoop, customized just for you. Choose from a variety of flavors. Select your supplements in any quantity you desire and have it shipped to you. Delivering across North America, Scoops lowers the commitment and increases the variety of your supplements. To learn more about Scoops, you can visit them at scoopsupplements.com or on their Instagram page at Scoop Supplements.
Hey, everybody. It's Carol Star Taylor with Soulfully Blonde, and I have an amazing guest. And I have to tell you, we met on social media actually through one of the women's networking groups that I have, that I'm part of. And I was riveted. So I was kind of like, not stalking exactly, but I was just so compelled to get to know my next guest that I had said, oh my God, you've got to be on this show. So with me today is I believe she's a true glow getter. And her name is Laura Kasl, and she is an astrology marketing coach for business. So how cool is that? She helps spiritual entrepreneurs get complete clarity in their business by aligning their natural gifts with their offers and marketing strategy, which I totally love, and it's totally up my alley. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Hi, Carol. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and excited to talk to you.
Thank you. So, you've got so much we talked offline before and I gave you my, my birth date and everything like that. If anybody wants to call into the show and ask Laura anything, press that call button on soulfullyblonde.com and Cameron is standing by. And if you want to dial into the show, but with your phone, it's 1-844-390-8255. And you can ask Laura anything about astrology, your marketing, your spiritual business. Even if you don't have a spiritual business, but you're spiritual, I think that this is definitely something that's up your alley. So my first question, because I think a lot of people want to understand what exactly you do. How can business owners use astrology in their marketing?
Oh, yes. This is my favorite topic. So astrology plays such an impactful role on our personalities. And I've been seeing, I'm sure you've been seeing this a lot too, all of these personality-based marketing things are starting to pop up because it is so essential to have a marketing strategy and a business that reflects who you are rather than trying to fit in the box of what everyone else is doing. Because that really just, if it doesn't align with your personality, that's a recipe for burnout. I honestly find using astrology is literally the difference between success in your business and possibly even giving up your business. Because
Wow,
if you're,
that much?
yeah, really, or at least just honoring who you are. Because if you have someone who's completely introverted, so in astrology, that would be a water dominant, and you're telling them to go live on Instagram and Facebook every day, they're going to hate it. And I think it's a lot of people think that's the only way they can find success, but there's so many different strategies you can use. And the more it aligns with who you are, the better.
Wow. So, oh my God, I got so many questions. So how, I mean, first of all, what is success? So define your version of success for me.
Sure. Attracting and working with dream clients on repeat, and, making anywhere from 5K on a month. So, a livable wage off your business.
Okay. So how do you use astrology, or how can somebody use astrology to attract their dream clients?
Oh, yeah. So, the way I have broken it down, just to kind of simplify it, is in astrology, there's 4 elements. So there's fire, air, water, and earth. And the way you can find your aligned marketing strategy is by using your dominant element, because that's your personality strengths and superpowers. But when you're finding your dream clients, you actually want to discover what your missing element is and learn to message to attract them. Because we naturally attract people who are like us. So if you're fire dominant, which you are, you're going to, naturally attract fiery people. But if you just tweak your messaging, which you actually have, I don't even know if you're aware of this.
No, I'm not aware.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect because your missing element is water. And water is often like the intuitives, the psychics, the super creatives. So those tend to be the spiritual entrepreneurs. And that's my missing element as well. So you actually want to message to watery people. So for instance, fire dominance might be attracted to passion and inspiration. A water dominant would be attracted to connection and storytelling. And I mean, they would literally buy from someone just because they like someone, versus an earth dominant would have to know that you're going to give them results, how much result you're going to give them. It's really interesting.
Wow. I'm surprised that you think I'm missing that water dominance.
Or it's in your chart.
Okay. So because I'm a storyteller by nature. I'm a storyteller by what I do, being a publisher. So it's funny that I'm spiritual and all of these things. So it's really funny that's in my chart.
So that doesn't mean that you can't be spiritual or you can't be a storyteller. It's just that water dominance will actually be attracted to storytelling. So that means that what you're offering will make the people that you should attract attracted, if that makes sense.
Right.
But anyone can be spiritual. I'm just, water dominants are like the intuitives. They're in other realms. But you also have Sagittarius is ruling your chart. And Sagittarius rules philosophy and other, and you have an Aquarius moon, which is very knowledge based, and you always want to learn everything. So you do have, lots of good stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So, I mean, it really does give you a different perspective of yourself as well. And and then working with somebody like yourself to be able to tweak that and really strengthen our weaknesses and hone our strengths.
Yes. Your natural superpowers, as I like to call them.
Right. If anybody wants to call into the show and ask Laura anything, just click that button on soulfullyblonde.com, and we can definitely have Laura answer anything. So tell me, what are I mean, marketing is such a huge, I mean, it's a catchphrase, isn't it? Yeah. Everything's marketing. Everything's marketing. So what do you think that some of the myths are about marketing?
Ooh, I love this question. So one of the biggest ones I've noticed is the use of niche and niching. And what I often see is people are either talking about one of the niches, but every business owner or entrepreneur actually has two niches. So one is the audience you're attracting. So whether it be spiritual female entrepreneurs or moms of toddlers or something. And then you also have your niche as in your special sauce. So like you're a publisher, right? But you're a soulful publisher. Like that's your special sauce, that you have that spiritual, zing to it. Right. So, and like for me, it'd be the astrology. I'm not just a marketing coach. I'm an astrology marketing coach. So finding that thing that makes you super unique. So to me, there are two niches versus just the one that I often hear a lot of coaches talking about. Another huge one, I think I kind of already covered this, but that every strategy needs to be the same. I mean, you'll see on Instagram, everyone's like, you have to do reels. And I actually will advise certain elements not to use Instagram at all because it doesn't match with their personality. If you don't have the energy and that like high vibe 24/7, you're going to hate Instagram.
Wow. So, I mean, do you often give tips to your clients, or how do you do what you do?
Well, I first do a deep dive into their chart. And I find the dominant and missing elements. And then we kind of just figure out, because it's not even just the marketing strategy, it's also the offers that you're making. So some people might be better off with one-on-one coaching. Some people might be better off with memberships. Others might do better with group coaching, depending on your energy levels and the element that really rules your chart. So just figuring that out. And again, like if Instagram's not right for you, that's fine. If Instagram's going to be where you shine, that's what we want to focus on. So just finding the right strategy that's going to feel aligned for my client so that they love their business.
That's awesome. Well, after the break, we are going to talk about the process of getting their charts done, some tips and tricks, and about the entrepreneurial journey. So let's be right back.
This segment of the show is brought to you by Star House Publishing, Inc. Have you always dreamed of writing a book and sharing your story? What's holding you back? Perhaps you've not moved forward because you don't know what to do or who to trust. By choosing to partner with Star House Publishing, Inc., they can help you make your dream of publishing reality with a shelf-quality book. They are an author-focused company taking a collaborative approach with your unique book. Your voice is your gift to the world. It will inspire, inform, motivate, entertain, teach, and emotionally move people to make a difference and change the trajectory of their lives with your words. Their compilation projects offer bundled professional services, including one-on-one coaching with NLP, global distribution to over 70 online retailers. Star House Publishing is currently filling their 14th compilation book, The Soulology Chronicles Glow. Star House Publishing is your complete professional publishing solution. To contact Star House Publishing for your solo book and or to be a part of the compilation, The Soulology Chronicles Glow, for both men and women, contact starhousepublishing.com.
We are back with Laura Kasl, and she is an astrology marketing coach for business. So if you want to call in and ask Laura anything, I'm just loving this conversation because this is something new and exciting. And I think a lot of our listeners haven't even heard about this. And so what is the process when people want to have you do their chart? Like, if you can go from start to finish and what they can expect.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So there's so many things going on in a birth chart. So most people just know their sun sign. So, if someone's like, oh, I'm a Taurus or I'm a Gemini, that's just their sun sign. And that is like, it's important, but it's just a small portion of a chart. So what we often refer to as the big three is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. So it's where the sun was positioned in the sky when you were born, where the moon was, and then the houses is wherever the houses start on the horizon, and that's your first house. And each house represents a different part of your personality. So your sun sign is who you are at your core. And that's often why we all relate to it so much. So if you only know that, you'll still feel pretty connected to it. Your moon sign rules your emotions. And it's actually really important to know your moon sign because it's such an important part of your personality. But because it's the moon, it's not often a visible outward part. So you really have to let it shine and make sure that you're honoring it. And then your first house or your rising sign is your persona. So it's actually how the world views you and sees you when they first meet you, like their first impression. Yeah. So, and that's why we need to know the birth time. That would be the houses. But then if you know your date and place, that will tell you where all the planets were. So that's also great insight.
And so are there signs or parts where somebody shouldn't be an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow, I love that question. So there's actually this part of your chart called the midheaven, and it's the tip of your chart, so like the top, and it's on the cusp of the 10th house, which is careers, and the 11th house, which is public persona. So it actually stands for your career path. And I will say analyzing your midheaven is really interesting when it comes to entrepreneurship. So for instance, if you have a Sagittarius midheaven, and you're a Sagittarius in a lot of places in your chart, that means you need freedom. So you could not work a 9-to-5 and be happy. Like I almost guarantee that anyone with a Sagittarius midheaven, if they are working an office job, they hate it and they're miserable. And then for instance, if someone has Cancer on their midheaven, that's all about nurturing. So those are often, you'll see coaches and people who caretake and things like that. And again, it's not like you can do anything, you have free will, but when you go by your chart, you'll start realizing how much more aligned and balanced your life feels when you honor these placements.
So what if somebody says, you know what am I going to be when I grow up? It's funny because I've been through that where, people, especially in the last couple of years with, with the lockdowns and everything like that, there's been a lot of different shifts. So, how do people find out, like, can you help them with their path? Can you help direct them where they should be good? Like what they should be looking into, what they should be doing?
Oh, absolutely. So beyond the midheaven, going back to the dominant element, that's actually a great key to what you're going to be great at naturally. So again, like those superpowers and what happens too with people, especially women, you're so good at something naturally, like you're great at collaborating and, spotlighting other people and bringing people together. Like that's a strength of yours. There are people that don't have that at all. But what happens is you get so used to being good at something, you forget that it's your superpower. and that you should monetize that superpower. So oftentimes reading someone's birth chart is just like shining a spotlight on things they kind of already knew, but realizing how special it really is. And each element does tend to do better at certain things. So yeah, I can definitely, I kind of have like, I have lists of each element, kind of what they might be better called to do.
Wow. This is so cool. So have you always been like this? I mean, like, what's the one thing you would have known when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh yeah. Well, so I have a tricky chart because my sun and my first house have a square. So that's when we start going to aspects. So what happens is everyone has the houses and the planets in position, but on top of that, they're all interacting with each other. So you can have a trine, which means it's like a very cohesive part of your personality, or you can have, so that's like the best, or you could have a square, which is kind of means you're going to have a struggle in that area. So for me, I have one personality in my sun and then the exact opposite as my rising. So I've struggled my whole life trying to honor both. So it's funny you asked that. So I've actually recently found ways to do different multiple things so that I'm honoring all parts of my personality.
That's amazing. So can you tell somebody like why in through their charts, why they haven't been successful in one area or the other?
Yeah. Well, again, like if they're doing something completely opposite from their dominant element and their midheaven, it's probably not going to be feeling very, very good. And it's hard to be successful when you just don't feel good about it. And also on the same token, though, you could be very successful and still not be happy. And that's often the reason. But you also have a placement in your second house, which is the house that represents money. So if that's, let's say, empty or has a planet in it that doesn't align well in that house, that can cause problems with money for your whole life. Or your Jupiter placement as well. So each planet is comfortable in different signs. So Jupiter in Sagittarius is a great omen. Jupiter is the planet of miracles and luck. So if you have a problematic placement in Jupiter, or if Jupiter is squaring like your sun, that can cause struggle for your whole life, especially with your success and your finances.
Right. Wow. So, but where does where does personality, does life experience all fit into all this? Because we have that and we change and we grow, but astrology, the way, because it's a science. So, and so it's a hard science. Like I'm born at 5 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't change. I'm born at, on a certain day. So how do you make that work? Like, how do you put together, our human soul journey, our human physical journey, and put that all together as well?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think everyone has free will. And I really think of your chart more as, you can even think of it as a life chart. So you don't have to be the same person your whole life if you grow and expand. But I think of it as a great tool to have to understand how you might interact with certain situations and things. And oftentimes, so most people who come to me are, let's say, in their late 20s to 60s. So they've lived a good chunk of their life. And often when I read their chart, they're just absolutely blown away because it can give you hints to your childhood, your current life, your future life. And I do find as you age, different parts of your chart tend to be represented in your personality. So like when you're a child, your moon sign comes out so much because you don't have any filters yet. So you're running on raw emotion, right? So your moon sign tends to kind of rule things.
Right.
Yeah. And then as you grow, I almost find then your midlife tends to be more of your sun sign. And then in that last stage of life, your rising usually comes out because that's kind of your life path. So that's one way to look at it.
Wow. So how would you describe yourself in one word? I know, right?
Oh, wow. Oh. Unique.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And you talk a lot about superpowers and everybody tapping into their own superpowers. And I think that that's what makes you such a glow-getter, because you are shining from within and you do shine your light to so many. And so what's coming up for you and where can everybody find you?
Thank you. I am actually building courses because what I've found is everyone's so blown away. They're like, what are you even talking about? Because this is a newer thing. I've never heard of this before. So it's
unique.
It's unique. It's, I gotta dance to the beat of my own drum. So I'm building courses. So the lunar launch will be really fun. So launching by the moon energies. And I'm building just like one giant astrology for your business course. So you can map, all the energies, the different seasons. So yeah, going pretty deep. And I also do one-on-one coaching as well.
So how do they find you, Laura, so that they can get their charts done? They can do one-on-ones with you, and they can find you for, any questions that they may have following this show.
Oh, thank you. I'm at laurakasl.com and at Laura Kasl on Instagram. And I also have a Facebook group, Spiritual Female Entrepreneurs Using Astrology for Cosmic Business Breakthroughs.
Whoa. So if anybody wants to find Laura, and also I'll be doing a blog on soulfullyblonde.com, and you'll be able to listen to the show. So on demand. So it is Laura Kasl. That's Kasl, guys. And I'm telling you, I'm just riveted by just even this short interview and what we've learned today. And I know that we haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg. Astrology marketing, spiritual business strategy. Catch Laura Kasl. Thank you so much for being on the show and enlightening the listeners. Reach out to Laura, and I appreciate you being on the show, and I'd love to have you back.
Thank you so much, Carol. I love your show. It's been such an honor. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, and goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Soulfully Blonde. To stay connected with Carol Starr Taylor, go to soulfullyblonde.com and tune in Tuesdays to the live show, weekly at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or catch the replay. You can also subscribe, share, and rate the podcast on your favorite platform. To be a guest and/or a sponsor, contact Carol at www.soulfullyblonde.com. Until next time, remember, there is a star in all of us. Keep growing and glowing.